Well, everyone, welcome back to a very exciting episode of his Storybox podcast. Today, my friends, I'm delighted to welcome someone who I think you're going to absolutely love his story and what he's doing in the world. His name is Beulah Koale. Now, for those of you that don't know who he is an actor. He's also, I believe, a very talented individual. He starred in Thank You for Your Service opposite Miles Teller. Many of you would have seen him in that film if you've watched the film. Also, Shadow in the Cloud. I watched that just the other day, actually. So it was a pretty cool film. Well done on that. Hawaii Five-0, which I can't say that I've seen. I apologize. But do go and see him in that too. And he is coming up in two films, I believe. Next Goal Wins with Taika Waititi. I'm pretty sure many of you would know who he is. And the movie Jewel, which is coming out very, very soon too. Beulah, man, can I welcome you so much to the Storybox podcast today?
No, thank you for having me, Jay. Appreciate it.
Welcome, man. So good to have you here. My very first question for you, man, I think you might like this one. What does success look like for you?
Success looks like for me, it looks like, it's going to sound weird, and I think about it every day. I think about my deathbed. And I always think about those last thoughts, and success looks like I'm there taking my last breath, and I'm going, okay, I had no regrets. I've done everything I possibly could to chase the dream, and the dream is career, the dream is family, the dream is everything that I love in my heart. So at the end of the day, that's what success looks like to me. So, and no regrets, and I took on every challenge that was put in front of me. Yeah.
When you say no regrets, do you have any regrets at all currently?
No. In terms of career, no, because I usually run towards, I have a compass that my soul has had since I was, I don't know how long I've had this, but since I was a kid, usually when I'm scared of something, I have to run towards it until I figure it out, and I don't leave until I'm not scared of it anymore. And then once I figure that out, I look for the next thing that's scary. Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think it's been like that for you?
I think definitely because of my background, growing up where I came from. I grew up in the hood of New Zealand, and we didn't have a lot of money. I got up to, I could have went the wrong route, and I did a little bit, but I was lucky enough to never get caught, and have other people who kind of looked after me and knew that I was going to be something, and pushed me towards that, and just telling me, no, go chase the acting thing. So I've always kind of just had a chip on my shoulder to prove people wrong that I can figure this out. And the further along I've gotten in my career and the more success I've had, the feeling of the challenge stays the same. The feeling of, so no matter how big or anything I get, I'm confident in myself, knowing that I'm not going to change, because all I'm chasing is a challenge. And that I've been chasing that thing since I was 10 years old. So, yeah.
Did you ever think that one day you would get to the level of, in terms of your career, the level that you're at when you were growing up?
When I was growing up, no. Well, I didn't even want to be an actor. I was a rugby player my whole life, and a pretty good one. And, I fell into acting by accident. But then once I made the decision that I'm going to be an actor full time at 21, I never forget that I made a theater show, and I told in this theater show, and I said it in my vows to my wife, I wrote my list, my dreams, my goals, and I said it to the world. And I achieved everything in that bucket list that I wrote for myself. And from that moment at 21, I said that I was going to be the biggest actor in the world. And that's, I'm on my way to that. So I know I'm going to do it, but I guess I didn't know I was going to do it when I was a kid.
Well, you're well on your way, man, to be honest with you. For my audience that have seen the kind of films you're in, they're not small budget films. They're quite big Hollywood style blockbuster films. So you're well on your way, in my opinion, man. And You mentioned there that you were a pretty good rugby player. Why not continue becoming a more of a famous rugby player? Why go into the acting sphere?
Yeah. I didn't chase it for fame, but also I didn't know until later on, I played rugby because that was how I knew how to express myself.
Right.
I played rugby because I was an angry kid, and it was either hit someone else or get hit legally and not get in trouble. And what I would always let out was just anger. And my drama, when I first joined the drama group, we didn't have a drama in school because we couldn't afford it. So in my last year of high school, they made a club. You got to join it. If you joined it, you got to skip 3 other classes on Monday. So the next rugby meeting, I was the vice captain. I told the rugby team, most of us are going to join this drama club, and we're all going to skip a bunch of classes for fun. Then I got there, we done the drama thing. I ended up kind of liking it secretly, but this theater lady, Sam Scott, who's still a massive part of my life now, who's told me, you can let out more than just anger. You can let out love, you can let out happiness, you can let out joy, sadness, fear. And I looked at her question as like, what do you mean? You guys, in this art world, you can do that. And I just remember just pondering that question, and I was always intrigued by it. So, and I'm still intrigued by it now. I guess that's why I'm still in it, because I'm always trying to figure out what are the questions out there to answer for myself. So I chase it because of that.
What made you an angry kid, do you think?
Life, definitely. Life. Just growing up the way I did. Didn't have great male role models. I had zero male role models. They're all terrible. And I surround myself with good male role models now. And I pride myself in being that as well for my family. Also the environment that I grew up in. But in the same breath, that environment is why I have the special talent that I have, and why I have the glint in my eyes and the things that I can access for my craft. So I love that I have that, because all of that stuff I access, and I do it with every job. I'm a massive believer in making my characters real and coming from a real place. So I always try and base it off something in my life, and then either blow it up, bring it down a little bit, and add research to it. But the heart of that character comes from me.
I want to get back to your creative process in just a moment, because I think it's very interesting for people to hear. But what would you say in your life, Beulah, was the most vulnerable moment for you?
My father leaving us. So I grew up with my father. I have 4 brothers, 1 sister, and one day my dad went to work and he just didn't come back, and he left and had an affair with another woman, took off to another country, and I was working. It was all like he was my hero. My father was like the greatest man in my life, and that one single day, that all changed. He just disappeared, and still to this day, today, last night, it wrecks me. It destroys me. I just had a conversation with my wife, and I was apologizing to my wife. I'm sorry, babe, I can't. I know the answer. I have to forgive him, but it's really hard. It's really hard. I don't know how to do it, so it's something I have to navigate. But that was the most vulnerable place in my life, because I became father in my family, and I had to work like 2 or 3 jobs to try and provide for my siblings who were still in school, and my mom, and pay a mortgage. And this was all happening when I first got my American start. So while I was having this success career-wise, in my real life, everything was going downhill. And it was a perfect marriage of like, all right, something's about to blow up. But when I done thank you for your service, that's when my father left. And I just used that film to let out my anger that I had inside of me. So everyone was like, that was crazy insane. they didn't know that I was just releasing what I was going through in that moment onto that film.
I appreciate you sharing that, man, because I know it's not an easy thing to actually share and be vulnerable on the show and open up like that. So I do appreciate you doing that.
Cool.
What kept you going during that? Because life was just really, really tough for you. It was really, really challenging. You having this small little start, I guess, in Hollywood at the time, but what kept you going, moving forward? What stopped you from quitting?
My drive. I've always been a driven person, and I'm always very competitive. I know that you ask anyone that knows me close, I'm one of the most competitive people that you ever meet at anything. And then just I like when the chips are stacked against me, that's when I perform my best, and I almost love it. Like I love pressure. I love when life doesn't feel great. Even like right now, my family, we're going through a rough time, and I'm just like, guys, this is good. You know, this is like we know how to deal with this. You know, it's just baby steps, and it's always the long road. And my agent always talks to me, goes, nothing ever happens easy with B, but usually when something bad happens, something really good is around the corner. So I'm always looking at that light going. It's right there. We just have to keep pushing, follow my lead, and we'll get there. Yeah.
Thank you once again for sharing that, because I needed to hear it. We're going through something as a family at the moment, which we need. Yeah, is that challenging aspect, and trying to keep your cool, trying to be calm during that season, I guess, that challenging season is really, really difficult to do. But you're right, there is something greater around the corner. And it's just about being patient. As much as we hate being patient, that word sucks, but then waiting for that amazing thing that is just around the corner. So just keep on going until that amazing thing actually comes to fruition. It actually happens. So yeah, I know what that's like, man, but appreciate you sharing that.
Easy. I like talking about it because it's, I feel like it's easy to talk about because everyone goes through it. So it shouldn't be hard for me to talk about it because it will help other people. So yeah.
How did you meet your wife?
I met her at Round the Bays, which is a charity event where you know, everyone goes for, I forgot how long it is. Maybe it's a 10K run, and you're just raising money for a charity. And I was on a TV show, the soap opera of New Zealand called Shortland Street back in the day, and I was running along with the famous New Zealand TV guys, and I see this girl in this group of thousands, like there's a cluster of people, and I see this girl, and I'm like, whoa, look at her. And my mate, Matt at the time, was like, come on, man, go over talk to her. I was about 20 at the time. And I was like, nah, man, I don't talk to girls. I don't know how to talk to girls. Like, I have zero game. And so the whole run, we walk it because I'm just trying to keep this girl on my side. And then I finally muster up the courage to go talk to her, and I lose her in the crowd. And at that time, during 2010, maybe, I was on Facebook, and you know, I was a young kid, and heaps of people were adding me on Facebook because I was on TV, and I flipped through my friend list, and it was like a lottery thing. Like it stopped, and she stopped right in the middle, and I just clicked. I didn't know it was her. I clicked on it, and I went, oh, "That's the girl from the thing." And my first message I sent her was, "Are you the girl from Round the Bays?" She goes, "Yeah." And now, you know, we've been together coming up to 10 years. We have twin babies, one coming on the way. And like, yeah, we're solid, man. Like that's my world right there. Yeah.
How long did it take for you guys to actually start dating? Was it like instantaneous or?
Yeah, well, I don't know, man, because I don't know how the dating thing worked. Because she was like kind of like my first girlfriend, like proper girlfriend, and I didn't know how that worked. And I remember, maybe it was like 2 months, 2 or 3 months. I was in McDonald's, and I had like a burger ring burger rings, burger rings.
Yeah.
And I'm eating that chip. And I was like, hey, can I put this on your hand? He's like, yeah. I was like, I don't know how this boyfriend thing works, but you want to be my girlfriend? And she's like, yeah. Like, my mom's been asking for ages. Are you guys a thing? I was like, oh, okay, cool. So we're together. And yeah, I asked her to be my girlfriend in McDonald's and the North Shore. So.
What do you love the most about your wife?
She's very honest. She's very frank with me. And she doesn't care about what I do. From day one, didn't care. I remember dating her, just hanging out with her and going, do you care I'm on this TV show? And she said to me straight to my face, she's the most soft talking person you ever meet. She goes, who do you think you are? And I was like, yeah, I love that, So I love that about my wife. And she's also just like, she's the standard for moms, for mothers. She's a great mother to my children. So, yeah.
What was it like for you to become a dad, man, for the first time?
Dude, it was pretty crazy, man. Like, and even that, life as well. Like, our kids were born, twins are usually born premature, but our kids were born 3 months early. So they're in incubators, and we're in intensive care for about 4 months. And my son came out dead when they cut him out because we knew one was having trouble. I remember in that moment when he came out and nothing was happening, we kind of knew. And I was looking at my wife, she's behind the sheets, and I'm looking at her. She's like, what's he look like? I'm like, really good. They rush him over to, try and bring him back to life and bring this little baby back to life. And that was a challenge. Another challenge, just life throws at you, and you're just like, all right, cool. But being a dad, or in terms of that moment, that was a really crap start to being a father. just having a dead child in front of you, just be like, all right, cool, welcome to dad world. But being a father is a bigger goal than my career. It's I want to be the man that my father never was. And I love that I achieved that with my kids. Like, I catch myself in moments, so many moments, where I could just be sitting here reading a book or singing Māori songs to my kids, and I'd just be crying, because those are the little things. I'm like, man, I'm killing it as a dad. Like, I never got this, or like the fact that my kids, I say I love you 1,000,000 times to my kids. Yeah, I'm killing it as a father, and I take pride in it.
Love it, man. I'm not a dad yet, so
yeah,
I can't relate. Maybe one of these days. But
yeah, man.
What would you say as a father has been your biggest lesson?
Biggest lesson is not put my trauma onto my kids. That's kind of something that I try and check all the time as well. They taught me how to love. They taught me what real love is and how challenging it is. But also, one of the biggest lessons is don't put my trauma into my kids. And that meant a lot of soul searching and a lot of I had to forgive a lot of the people that done me wrong, and that's hard. And I'm still trying to forgive, some people, and I only forgive them not because I like them, but for the sake of my children, because I don't want any of their energy to bleed into me being have negative energy towards my kids, So yeah.
Your kids are looking up to you as a father and as a man too, making a real man in today's day and age. And do you believe that a real man is capable of really forgiving, even though it's really, really difficult?
Yeah. I think a real man is capable of that. I've done it before. And I know, and I ask myself this question as well. It's very simple to do, but very hard to do at the same time. I have to remove so many things, like my ego, the pain, in order for me to do that. But it's a process. I never forget the first time I got taught forgiveness was one of my Navy SEAL mates in Hawaii. He's very religious, but he could see I was having the best time of my life in Hawaii, but he could see that I wasn't happy because there was a bunch of stuff going on. And he sat me down and he talked to me about forgiveness and forgiving my father for the sake of my kids. And that was all I needed to hear. Yeah, that was hard. But I remember when I did, it was like a whole weight lifted off my shoulders. And like, I'm not even saying that just because that's what people say. Like, that was for real. Like, I could feel the weight off. But yeah.
Yeah, they say that even if that person doesn't really accept the apology, or if you can't go to them and they never apologize to you, it's not about that. It's about you forgiving yourself or forgiving that person from your standpoint, so that you can feel at peace, you can be free.
That's it, man. Like, we're never going to be friends. And that's what I thought forgiveness was. It's like, nah, it just means that you don't run my life anymore and you're not allowed to have hate in my heart. If anything, I love you and I feel sorry for you, and I will take that energy towards my kids.
Yeah.
And, that's it.
Are you happy today?
No, I'm not. I'm not. I mean, I guess you're always trying to search for happiness, and life always throws you curveballs. And like I said, we're going through some stuff as a family. And I'm happy because I know I'm way further ahead in life in terms of my mental and spiritual setting. Like, I know what to do. But currently, no, I'm not. I'm not happy. And I think there's strength in saying when you're not happy. There's power in it. I like it when I ask people, "Hey, you're good, bro?" And they go, "No, I'm actually not." I'm like, "Cool, all right, let's have a conversation."
Yeah.
So yeah,
because that's real, man. That's the authentic truth. You don't want to lie to yourself and to that other person, because then if you believe the lie, you just feel miserable. You're constantly questioning yourself. Hey, is this really true or not? Like, what's going on here? So I appreciate you being honest with me, man. And I hope and pray that everything for you does get better, like what we're mentioning before. Just around the corner. Just hold on.
It is, man. And that's it. Like, I almost smile at it because I'm like, it has to happen. There's no other way but to fight through it, and the light is right there. Like, it happens every time in my life. Every time this happens, I'm just like, I'm almost used to it. Right there. It's right there.
With the time that we have left, man, sorry to speed things along because I know I could spend forever on this, but what is your creative process like for those people that are wondering? What does it involve?
It's all dependent on the job at hand as well. So it's always different. I kind of like think of it as like fight camps. So I train certain things for certain jobs that require it. So for thank you for your service, without knowing, I went pretty method. And I didn't know I was doing it because I didn't go to no school. I didn't go to how to learn how to act. Like, well, thank you for your service. I knew nothing about American military. I had a terrible American accent. So I said, I'm just going to speak an American accent nonstop for 3 months until I get it good. And I knew nothing about PTSD or the military. So I rotted some meat because my character senses his smell was a massive sense trigger. So I rotted some meat, blacked out a room, got sent a bunch of images from some soldier guys and played some rock music and just sat in a room and just listened to this. And when I got on set, when Jason required certain things from me, he would secretly sneak in some meat onto set that was rotten. I knew it was in there because I instantly everything that I trained up for that sense that was attached to that came up, and he would just try and hold me down and be like, okay, now just keep it in your eyes. No anger, just keep it all in your eyes. So like that job, I kind of done that for a couple of other jobs. Something like Duel, that was like, it was awesome because I had to remove everything that I learned as an actor because of Riley's way of directing. He's very different, and he's very Riley Stern. Only Riley Stern can direct and make a film that he is. So it required me to remove my ego and just be like, hey, bro, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm sorry, man. Can you help me? Can you help me figure this out? And he was just like, yeah, man, this what I want to do. I was like, cool, let's do it. And we got to play, and I got to add another tool to my satchel of tricks.
How did you get the role for Jewel?
Crazy. Didn't audition. It was over a phone call. So then I got sent a script, and I watched his film, and I was like, I really want to work with this guy because, first of all, I'm scared of comedy, and I don't know any. Like, I'm scared of sci-fi, so I have to do these things. And then Riley Stern was also like, I was like, I want to do a film like that because after doing TV, I knew I wanted to just drop that and go do movies now. Because, and then he called me up. I'd done all this research. Usually when I meet someone, I researched them for about 5 days, and then I try to know everything about them. He called me up at the wrong time. It was like dinner time and shower time with the kids. And I was like, dude, you called me at the worst time. Like, I'm trying to get these kids off the table and into a bath, and they're screaming in the background. And I'm so sorry, man. I watched your film, blah, blah, blah. And then I said, hey, are you a good person, man? And he goes, yeah, I think I'm a good person. And I'm like, I think I'm a good person too. And I just want to work with good people. If that's you, man, I would love for that to work out. I got to go because my kid's screaming right now. I got to put him in the bath. But I see you later, bro. And I hung up. And then my agent calls me. He goes, how'd it go? I was like, well, that was terrible. Like, I'm sorry, man. And then the next day, my agent tells me, he's like, yeah, Riley, he wants to work with you, and you're in the film. And the world works in crazy ways like that sometimes, you know. And a lot of the times for my work, it's always usually worked in that kind of way, never the way that you're supposed to do it. There's always weird ways that it works for me. So, yeah.
Like the unexpected, right? In a major way.
Yeah.
Wow, man. What is the film about for those people that are keen?
So we're in a world where if you're about to die, if you're terminally ill, you can make yourself a clone in, I think, 30 minutes. And this clone comes out and looks exactly like you, but needs to learn everything about you, how you talk, what you like. And this clone is going to replace you when you pass away. So your family doesn't need to grieve that you're gone. And we live in this world, in this particular film. And in this world, if the person that was supposed to pass away ends up recovering and from their illness, you have to, like a Saturday night rugby league match, you have to duel to the death. And whoever wins gets to live out the rest of that person's life. And this film is based around Karen Gillan's character, who's been cloned, and I play her husband, and Aaron Paul plays one of the trainers that's training the real Sarah to try and kill the fake Sarah. And that's the premise of it. But it's about a bunch of other things.
That sounds very interesting, man. When does it come out?
Man. Comes out this Friday in the States.
Sweet. How about for the international people?
I don't know.
Wait longer.
Yeah, I think we always got to wait a little bit longer, but I don't know when it's going to come out for us. But the States I'm sure the States are going to love this film. I love it because I'm like, yeah, man, I've done the challenge. I achieved the challenge that, and I'm not as scared of sci-fi and comedy anymore. And I've got that extra tool in my satchel now.
So you've seen the finished film?
Yeah, man, it's great. It's like, this is the type of work I want to do, where it's film. It's not a movie. It's film. It tells story and story. I'm like, I know I've been put on this earth by God to tell stories, whatever story that is, but like really good stories. And that's what I'm going to do. So to be a part of that, it's just like to work with Riley, to work with Karen and Aaron, and tell a story that I never ever thought that a person like me could tell that's massive.
Yeah, man. Well, I, for one, am looking forward to actually watching it. So I'll have to DM you on Instagram after I see it, man. I think it'd be awesome to see. But 2 quick final questions for you, man. You mentioned that you love stories and you're a good storyteller. This is a question that one of my guests actually gave to me, so I can't take credit for it. I wish I could. But what is the current plot of your story that you're in the middle of right now?
Of my story?
Of your story. Yeah.
What do you mean by plot? Like you want me to tell you how my life is going?
It's basically another way for saying what's next for you.
Oh, got you. I'm going to do, after this, I'm going to do a series, a 6-episode series on one of the major networks, the Apple, Netflix, whatever. And I always say I'm going to, because I have to say that it's going to happen. And then I'm going to do 2 more like kind of films like this where I film, where I tell proper stories. Then I'm going to hit the big time and make the money movie. And then I'm going to direct the film, my own short film. And I'm going to also write a theater show this year that I perform in my friend's living room, just for my friends to watch. And then I'm going to make a production company. And it's going to be called Run It Straight Productions. And I'm going to hire my friends, Dominic, Neil, and their wives and my wife. And we're going to run a production company where we tell not only our story, but everyone's story. So, yeah.
Wow. The reason why I asked for that, we didn't have enough time for your response because this is my all-time favorite question. I love asking all my guests at the very end. It is a hypothetical one. I think as a storyteller, as a film lover, I think you might love this one. And you also mentioned at the beginning of our conversation that you do think about your legacy and death quite a bit. So this is a hypothetical one, but I want you to imagine with me for a moment that you've been able to reach the age of 100. All your friends and your family have decided to put together a film for you of everything you've ever said and everything you've ever done. Don't ask me how in the world they got it all. We'll call it magic for the sake of argument. But they've been able to get it and show it to you on your 100th birthday. What do you want that film to say and to show about your life?
Dude, that's crazy. It's crazy we talked about this in the beginning of the podcast, kind of. I think about it a lot, and I don't lie. It's almost like how I think about what I want on my gravestone. I think about that a lot too. And I tell myself, he was a great father. He was a great husband. He was a great son. He was a great brother. He was a great friend. And that's all that I want on that gravestone. I don't want, if I'm talked about as being an actor, I failed in life because at the bottom of the list should be acting. Right at the bottom, he was a great actor, because if I nail those top things, my faith is there as well. Everything else shall follow, and that's kind of how it is how I run my life. So it will be a lot of videos of just me and my family, the great times that we had, and just smiles. And at my funeral, everyone will be partying. No one will be sad. We'll be playing old school R&B. We'll be playing Eric Clapton and everything. You know, Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton, "Islands in the Stream," which is my favorite song ever. You know, and everyone will be dancing and just celebrating life and not feeling sad. And I hope I leave behind that legacy that someone else, if my kids, not anyone else, can get some inspiration from that and want to be like that, because that's what I chase. I chase that. Yeah.
Good old Kenny Rogers, the gambler.
You can't go wrong with good old Kenny, bro. He's a man.
Same with Eric Clapton. What was his most famous song? Isn't it? What's that?
He had a couple of Kids in Heaven, and who sang "Knock 3 Times"? I don't know who that was. It wasn't Eric Clapton.
I can't remember either, but I think Eric Clapton sang that my boy, he grown up just like me. What's that? What's that song? Damn it, my dad would know.
Oh, and Michael Bolton.
Michael Bolton, yeah.
Right.
All these great musicians, man, 100%. Yeah. Where do you want people to connect with you, man, and learn more about you?
I'm just on Instagram. I'm on Twitter as well, but I don't really use it. I'm pretty much on Instagram. I'm pretty active on there, and I talk to people via that. But for real, like I want you to connect with me in person. If you see me, like come up and talk to me. That's how I want to connect with people. So yeah.
Well, man, if I ever see you in person, definitely. We're going to have an in-person conversation. Looking forward to it.
I'll hit you up because I'm coming to Australia in 2 weeks, I think, and the wedding's in Blacktown. So I'll be pretty close. So let me know.
Man, you'll be around the corner. How awesome is that? Well, hope to see you in maybe 2 weeks' time. We'll see what happens. But thank you so much, man, for your time. Really enjoyed this conversation with you. Thank you so much for joining me on this Storybox podcast.
Cool. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.